Hi everyone. Today I'm going to share my healthy living guide with you. So I'm just going to share my screen so that you can see the PowerPoint presentation as we go along here. And I really hope this is working because this is the second time that I've tried it out. Okay. Also, just a heads up, I live in Boston. The T goes by, so we'll be hearing that in the background once in a while. I'll try and pause when it gets loud. So my name is Kara. Welcome. I'm here from the Bounce Bod, and I'm so happy that you're joining me today to learn some simple tips that we can do to make our lives a little bit healthier.
Okay. Also, just a heads up, I live in Boston. The T goes by, so we'll be hearing that in the background once in a while. I'll try and pause when it gets loud.
All right, hopefully I just figured out that little technical difficulty. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm getting used to using Google Hangouts. Okay, here we are, my healthy living guide. So I first want to point out that living healthfully is a lifestyle choice. It's really different from a fad diet because it's something that's going to hopefully last for our entire lives rather than just a couple of weeks or days. One point that I want to get across to everyone, and it really helps me to remind myself of this also, is that we have the capability to create anything that we want in life. And our health matters. So to take care of our health, we can create healthier lifestyle choices to facilitate this process. And taking care of our bodies and educating ourselves on the best way to do this is essential. And that's why we're all here today. So, most of our foods have sugar in them. You can see here on the right, this picture shows all of the many names that sugar may have in our foods. And one tip is to avoid these foods at the supermarket by staying on the perimeter where items like fresh fruits and vegetables and other produce are located. These items usually do not have sugar in them, but just be cautious of sugar because it has addictive properties and it's pretty much in most packaged items that are in our supermarkets these days. Okay. In addition to the addictive effects of sugar, it negatively affects our bodies emotionally and physically. And some physicians have even referred to sugar as toxic. And again, here's that word, addictive. So it's really important that we watch how much sugar we eat. Now, the American Heart Association recommends that men have a maximum of 150 calories of sugar per day, which is the equivalent to 37.5 grams or 9 teaspoons of sugar. And for women, that's a little bit less, about 100 calories per day, which is the equivalent to 25 grams or 6 teaspoons. Now, you may be wondering how the heck you can actually determine how much sugar you're eating. And it's pretty easy. And we're talking about added sugars here. I'm not talking about sugars that are naturally found in fruits and other carbohydrate sources. I'm talking about foods that are packaged with, we'll go back to this picture, with one or more of these names of sugar in the label, in the ingredient label. So in order to determine if our foods have sugar in them, we just look at the label, look at the ingredients, and also the nutrition facts will show us in grams how many grams of sugar are present in the food per serving. So we really want to work on limiting our sugar to this maximum amount set by the American Heart Association. And I will say that we also should be cautious of getting too crazy with the counting up and keeping track of the numbers, because sometimes that can be a little overdone as well. So you really want to find that balance of knowing what's in our food, knowing what we're putting into our bodies, but also not restricting everything, because in the long run, that can affect our eating habits down the line as well. So like I said, reading the label is a simple way to know how much sugar is in the food that we have. Most packaged and bottled foods like juices, sodas, alcohol, breads, pastas, condiments like ketchup, and cereals have sugar added to them. And this is pretty easy to remember, because anything that doesn't come directly to us from a farm or our backyard garden is sort of in this danger zone. And we just need to be consciously aware of what's in that food. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I sometimes have a hard time with the sugar, because it is so addictive and I really like the taste of it. And it's something that I am used to having ever since I was a little kid. Like ice cream. My mom and I would have like bowls full of ice cream every night watching TV, which is not a very healthy habit to have. And one food that is a nice alternative for me to turn to is a smoothie, because it's still cold and sweet and sort of mimics that ice cream, for me anyways. So smoothies can be made with yogurt, which is a great source of protein and probiotics, healthy bacteria for the gut, and fruit. And it's really delicious and doesn't take very much time at all to make a smoothie. And just to drive home again the point that food is fuel for our bodies, and we really want to give our body the most supreme fuel available so that we can keep it running as efficiently as possible to do all of the many things that we do during our day. Have you ever thought about food being possibly toxic to your body? Well, there are very common symptoms of food allergies, and these are listed on the right. You can see here from my picture the common symptoms of food allergies. And most of us are probably familiar with food allergy symptoms that affect the GI tract, like an upset stomach, diarrhea, constipation, bloating, things like that. But have you ever thought of food allergies as related to the brain? Headaches, hyperactivity, insomnia, depression, anxiety, fatigue. These are all also common symptoms of food allergies, as well as issues affecting our skin and our joints. So really, food allergies affect the entire body. And the most common food allergens are listed on the left. These include peanuts, legumes, eggs, milk, wheat, eggs, soy, fish, and shellfish. So if you notice that any of these symptoms are manifesting in your body after consuming one of the foods on the left, perhaps you can experiment a little bit and take one or more of these foods away from your diet and see what happens. Perhaps your acne will clear up. Maybe you won't feel as depressed or tired throughout the day. Maybe your asthma, like me, will go away. It's really amazing what we can do when we just pay more attention to what's going on in our body. Okay, so this word detoxification is used a ton, especially in a lot of fad diets or pills on the markets. But all it means is that we're bringing our body back to its natural state of homeostasis. We're bringing our bodies back into balance so that we feel our best. And we're ridding our organs of harmful sugars and toxins that are in the digestive system that perhaps once caused some of those common allergy symptoms. And this can also help to decrease inflammation in the body and this brings us to, so what should we eat? Well, it's pretty simple. We should be eating whole, organic foods. This includes complex carbohydrates, like fresh or dried, frozen fruits and vegetables, preferably organic, and we'll go over that in just a second. Also, having a diet rich in lean proteins is going to help us build muscle and break down fat. So things like poultry and pork and fish. And then another important part of our diet are starches like brown rice, quinoa, and sweet potatoes. All of these foods have lots of nutrients, vitamins, and minerals in them. So they're going to promote health for our entire body. Okay, so why is it important to eat organic foods? Well, we want to make sure that we are feeding ourselves pure sources of food rather than toxic chemicals. And I just want to expand this a little bit so we can see this picture better. These are called the Dirty Dozen foods on the upper right-hand corner here. And these foods are subject to higher levels of toxins and pesticides, chemicals. So it's a good idea that we buy these organic whenever possible. Now, under this are the Clean 15, and these don't necessarily need to be organic because they have a tough peel around them. So things like onions and pineapples, avocado, which is a great source of healthy fats. I love avocados. And some others, as you can see here, don't need to be bought organic necessarily. And organic foods do tend to be more expensive. So there's another balancing point here, is that we have to balance our budget with buying organic foods. And just to give you an idea of what organic versus natural is, because if you're like me, maybe you thought organic and natural foods were the same thing, but they're not. It's pretty amazing that natural foods don't require animal welfare requirements, and they don't necessarily have lower levels of environmental pollution. And there's not a certification required, including inspections, and some of these other things here as well, like GMOs, genetically modified organisms, are still allowed in natural foods. So checking to make sure that that seal of approval by the USDA is on there is going to help ensure that we're actually getting organic sources of food. Okay, here's a healthy plate that I really like to use. This is called the Harvard Healthy Plate, and it breaks down our plate into vegetables, fruits, whole grains, healthy proteins, healthy fats or oils, and water. And all of these are very important components to a diet rich in nutrients. So I think this is a nice model for us to think of when we are preparing our meal plate at lunchtime or dinner time, and also breakfast, although most of us will not actually be filling our plate at breakfast time with this many vegetables, unless you like eggs like me for breakfast. That's a great way to get the veggies in there as well. Okay, and then I'm sure you know that it's important to keep it moving. But sometimes we need an exercise buddy or a coach or trainer or somebody other than ourselves to stay accountable, at least to get started with an exercise program. Exercise can help to alleviate stress and, of course, help with weight loss. But also exercise is a great way to boost self-confidence and promote overall wonderful health. The American Heart Association recommends a minimum of 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise at a moderate intensity, 5 days a week. Now that's a minimum for our cardiovascular exercise. The American Heart Association also recommends that we get 2 strength training workouts each week. Strength training workouts are going to promote bone mineral density, and also by gaining lean muscle mass, we're going to increase our metabolism, which will help aid in fat loss. And also, I just want to say here that it helps me to think of exercise in this way, that something is always better than nothing. So even on days where I don't have time to get to the gym for an hour workout or head outside for a half an hour jog, even if I get down on my mat and I do yoga for 5 minutes or even 1 minute plank, something is always better than nothing. And I always feel great after I move my body. So we've talked about a lot up until now. We went over how to think of our nutrition and the importance of moving. And there are many, many healthcare benefits that come along with implementing these healthy strategies. We can achieve a healthy weight. We can work to decrease the risk of blood sugar abnormalities and diabetes. We can reduce headaches and think more clearly. We can improve digestive issues, skin tone, and decrease bloating and other uncomfortable GI symptoms of food allergies. And we can also improve our self-confidence, the way we think about ourselves, and hopefully implement all of these strategies out of self-love, because we love ourselves so much and we know that we're doing good work in our days, that it's really important to us to take care of our bodies so that we can help to take care of others around us. If you're interested in any of the references that I used to create this presentation, please check out these links. And if you have any questions at all, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought of this hangout on air. Would you like to see more things like this? Would you like to do some workouts with me? Would you like to see what I do in the kitchen to get my food ready? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And thanks so much for joining me. I'm so glad that you were here today. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.